Chief Executive of Medical Aid for Palestinians. I'm here in Egypt where for the last few days I've been debriefing with our first emergency medical team. Doctors who were working with our team in Gaza were supporting one of the hospitals there. They report the most horrific of injuries, particularly amongst children. You can see behind me that I'm at one of our warehouses where we are packing up our next shipment of medical supplies to go to Gaza, which is only possible with your support. The shipment includes life-saving supplies such as bandages, gauze, antiseptic, painkillers, IV fluid for drips, and also crucially it contains items to treat cancer, to treat kidney dialysis, without which people in Gaza are needlessly dying.
Well used to difficult circumstances, but this, they say, is like nothing before. And almost half the patients here are children.
The situation here is just a few days from breaking point.
This British surgeon came here from London at the weekend.
The ferocity and the number of these injuries has been shocking. The hospital is overrun with patients. There are wounded that are sleeping in the corridors now in the emergency department, and we don't have the capacity to take the wounded that need to go to the operating rooms anymore.
Critical care conducted on corridor floors.
I've had to use vinegar to treat this wound infection. We're short of everything. We're short on supplies, we're short on medication.
This British Palestinian doctor left his family in London and traveled to Gaza when Israel began bombing to volunteer as a surgeon.
For more, we're joined by Dr. James Smith, an emergency medical doctor who just returned from Gaza earlier this month, where he worked alongside Palestinian healthcare workers to treat patients at Al-Aqsa Hospital, located in Deir al-Balah in the middle of the Gaza Strip. Dr. James was in Gaza with the organization Medical Aid for Palestinians. He's joining us now from London. Dr. James, welcome to Democracy Now! Describe what you saw, what you confronted, the work you were doing, what's happening at Al-Aqsa Hospital.
Hi, Amy. So, yes, as you say, I was working with a team of, there were 10 of us, at Al-Aqsa Hospital. Al-Aqsa is a hospital based in the middle area of Gaza, so south of Gaza.
Well, my testimony at the ICC will be around what I witnessed as a survivor of the attack on Al Ahli Baptist Hospital, but also in terms of what I saw in terms of injuries and in terms of weapons used during the whole of the 43 days I was in Gaza.
The UK, who's been going back and forth to Gaza for nearly 15 years, says he was not prepared for what he saw on his most recent visit, especially when it came to young burn victims.
The most devastating burns in small children. One child that I'll never forget had burns so bad you could see her facial bones. We knew there was no chance of her surviving that, but there was no morphine to give her. So not only was she inevitably going to die, but she would die in agony. And what made it even worse, that there was nowhere for her to go and die. So she was just left on the floor of the emergency department to die.
Many patients in hospitals
where people cannot live and eventually leave. It's incumbent upon everybody to make sure that Gaza recovers, is rebuilt. It's thousands and tens of thousands of wounded patients get the treatment that they deserve, and that its victims get the justice that they need. All of them stick in your mind. The young girl whose mother was a doctor at Shifa, and her mother was killed and her sister was killed and was being looked after by her mother's colleagues. And the way She had horrendous facial injuries, but had her braids and her hairband and her nail polish. Anas, who had full thickness facial burns and burns to his arms and legs, who then died after a couple of surgeries. Ramadan, whose father wheeled him on a wheelchair for 5 hours to follow me to Nsirat camp. Dareen.
It's okay. It's okay.
Whose foot I amputated.